Okay, hello everybody and greetings from Skopje, Macedonia. Today we have the pleasure to introduce two Macedonian companies. Actually today the first company, and on the 22nd of May the second company. And greetings to the students that are watching us in Italy, Spain and Finland.
Greetings from my side too.
Yes. We have Mr. Robert Smilevski with us, who is representing the company Knauf, and he will introduce now the company and tell us a little bit more about the company, what they work, their field of interest, and what especially is our focus on this talk is about your business culture, way of recruiting students, retaining talents, and anything else that you can share with us and would be interesting for future employers, students that will be can be useful from them.
First of all, thank you for the invitation. I am delighted to spend 1 hour with the students and with you. My name is Robert Smilevski. I'm coming from a company called Knauf. It exists in Macedonia for 25 years. But Knauf, as a German company, is based in Iphofen in Franconia. Mm-hmm. It's a company that exists for almost 85 years now. 85 years.
Wow.
The beginnings start with the entrepreneurial brothers Alphonse and Karl Knauf in 1932, when they secured the mining rights to gypsum, which was available in the area of Schengen, Obermosel, and since they got this right to use the gypsum, from that beginning, now there are some kind of synonym for many construction workers and for enthusiasts that Knauf is a synonym of working with gypsum and making materials made of gypsum.
So your company is quite old and is present in which countries in the world? You mentioned Macedonia and Germany, but are there any other countries?
Actually, Knauf is present almost in all the countries in the world. It has more than 27,000 employees. Yeah. It has approximately 150 factories on all the continents. One official, I would say, data that maybe the students should get used to it to determine the size of a company. The company has annual sales of 6.5 billion euros per year.
That's quite a number.
Yeah.
Yes. So we're also interested to know a little bit more, besides the size of the company, maybe a little bit more about the company that is in Macedonia. So you mentioned 25 years already functioning here in Macedonia. So
yes.
How big it is, what you produce, and is it only for Macedonian market or international as well?
In order to understand how the factories are distributed throughout the world, at the beginning I would say that Knauf as a group is actually an umbrella of many brands underneath, and Knauf Gips, for example, is only one of them. We have several companies that were developed, acquisitioned, or of course as the company grew and it has more capital, they wanted to invest in different kind of factories and greenfield and brownfield, of course, to develop a production of new materials. So at the moment we have many famous brands by themselves as well, like PFT, AMF, Knauf Insulation, Aqua Panel. We have special Dano lines, Sacred, and many companies that maybe people or students who are interested in construction and architecture know about these brands. So under this same umbrella, Knauf umbrella, in Macedonia 25 years ago, it was one of the first big investments in Macedonia. They acquired an existing factory in Debar in Western Macedonia, which was already producing gypsum materials and products. And of course it made a huge renovation and installment of new technology and know-how. Afterwards it opened its representative office in Skopje, the capital, and at the moment in Skopje work around 20 people, and the rest are in the factory. And in the headquarters of the factory where there are approximately 140 people working.
So it's a medium-sized company, yes, working in Macedonia. And what type of people, professionals work there? What is it, engineers only, or you have other fields?
Yeah, this is a big company. I mean, a big company in global size, and in Macedonia as well. We employ engineers, chemical engineers. Of course, like every big company, we have departments such as finance, and we have sales and marketing.
Yes.
All these support departments that need one good company. We have an IT. We have a representative who does who is more busy with HR issues, talent management, and so on.
Okay, that's quite interesting. And you mentioned that this is a very specific material, and why it is especially in Debar. So can we share also this for the students? I think it will be interesting. Yes. Yeah. So what is this?
This looks like a glass, but actually this is something that in Knauf, Macedonia, we're very proud of. It's actually gypsum. So this gypsum is available in a very pure form in Macedonia. It's actually one of the purest form of gypsum in the world. The purity is 99.99, and this level of purity is only achieved on another place in Mexico. So, but even then we have some advantage, because this gypsum material is available very near the surface, so basically you can go
easy to mine.
You can mine it. You can basically go with high heels and get this kind of gypsum. And in Mexico City, from what I know from my colleagues, it's very much deep in the ground with very hostile environment.
So it's
much more difficult to
address.
Harness it.
So, and Macedonia is the place where this gypsum is taking out, and production starts right in Macedonia, or there is also exporting gypsum in other countries? How does it work?
We mainly produce the materials with the gypsum we take from Debar mine. We produce gypsum boards, different kinds, because our portfolio of gypsum boards is a big one. We have plasters and all other leveling materials for floors and so on. The quality of the gypsum, it's making our life easier, because the product itself is better quality when we don't have to spend too much energy and care about making the gypsum clean. So we are really blessed with having this material.
And then these great products are exported to other countries, I presume. So you're not only satisfying the market in Macedonia, but maybe regional
exactly. The products produced in Macedonia are maybe 20% in sales in Macedonia. The rest is sold in the area, because construction materials are pretty heavy, and usually you export them in the neighborhood. It's not so economically justifiable to export it on another continent. So basically Macedonia and Southeast Europe.
That's nice. Okay, so you have a very special product that is created here, and maybe a few words about, because you mentioned it's a quite big company, a lot of employees on almost every country in the world. How does communication between these companies works? Is it official, centralized, decentralized? And making decisions also? Maybe it's interesting to hear about that.
It is interesting, because we found even lately we had some big discussions on this subject. We had lots of trainings and lots of working groups, because we found that communication for a company which is global, which is active on all the continents, is a crucial question. Of course, we don't talk now about communication from us to the customers, but more internal.
Internal, yes.
Especially taking into consideration big amount of cultures, languages, different time zones. So basically we are trying to reduce the classical phone telephone, for example, a long conversation. We try to make online working groups. We have an internal Facebook, so to call it. We call it Compass.
Nice.
And in Compass you can make working groups and talk and comment in other people's working groups if they are open, of course. Of course, we still have the emails. We cannot eliminate them completely. Of course, phones when something is urgent as well, phone conferences. But basically, in order to, as we have a target to be a communication company #1 in the world, we need to improve. Always there is always room for improvement of communication, and we spend a lot of energy for that.
So people who are working in your company should have excellent communication skills. We will discuss about what type of skills is needed. Maybe more about the company. I see this is quite interesting. We were discussing also previously about the values that the company has, because it's very important for a newcomer, for a student, one who is applying for the job, to also have these maybe personal values which will be in line with the company's values. So can you tell us a little bit about the company values?
Yes. In the line to what we were talking before, it's a really big company. The world is small but still big, because many people are stakeholders in many processes, and very often during the communication and in the work itself every day, we realize that it's really fast-moving world where very often people need some kind of values to stick to in order to have some guidance.
Yes.
Because we in Knauf we call them Knauf values. We have every 10-15 years creating or reconfirming the values of the company, which
That's
we're trying
nice.
to make the whole strategy around them. At the moment, and in the last 7-8 years since they were introduced, the key values of Knauf are partnership, commitment, entrepreneurship, and one word which is pronounced in German Menschlichkeit, because first of all we wanted to have some word to remind everyone that this is a German company, and also because when we were translating Menschlichkeit in English, it was not really the best choice of words that we can use. It's not really humanity. It's in Macedonian we say човечност, or something that
more humbleness. Maybe.
Humbleness, that means more we than I. That the man, whatever we do, all the processes at the end they come on the plate of a person who has to finish the job, and the importance of person and the whole processes are somehow valued and accustomed to be humane, because I believe it's for every company that the employees are the treasure, because they are the ones who whatever strategy is introduced, they should try to follow it and make the products and deal with customers. So again, everything turns around the person, the people.
Yes, may I interrupt? It's quite
Sure,
interesting, yes, because you say also person, but there is a commitment, but a partnership.
Yes.
And it's a global company. So you also mentioning interdisciplinary teams and intercultural teams.
Yes.
So from here, can we make analogy of what is actually needed for your employees to be successful and to really be part of the company and very successful in that way?
I believe it is interesting to make a parallel. In my last 20 years of work experience, maybe it's interesting for the students to know different companies have different cultures. My previous company, I'm already 11 years in Knauf, so that was kind of many years before. I worked in a telecommunication industry where the whole organization is very hierarchical. That means normally you are dealing with one level above you or below you, not so much going.
But you follow also the decisions
and much
rules.
stricter rules and decisions. In Knauf it's quite the opposite. Knauf is family-owned company. Most of the key positions in the company is within the family Knauf. For example, my previous boss, Miss Beatrix Knauf, she was basically Knauf is a family name. The brand comes from the family name. She was coming here on the construction site, in the mine, knowing everyone by name. So this kind of approach in my previous company would be unimaginable. Yes. So this kind of culture in the company is pretty much interesting, because basically it's much more humane. There is no any obstacle if somebody needs to have idea. Of course, there are ways how to do there are some idea pools and tools how to put the idea into so-called stage gate tools and so on. But even the owners, the family themselves, they wouldn't mind listening or hearing such an idea from somebody coming directly to the email, by email to them. It's a different culture. It's very interesting.
But this is quite, I think this is very important to emphasize, because when we read on internet or hear about some company or hear about their products, we have one impression, but what you're now saying is the soul maybe of the company.
Exactly, yes.
How?
Because it's not only expected the family to drive the changes, very often the changes and the innovation and thinking out of the box comes from the working groups, which are international, from all the continents, from all levels of, meaning all departments, starting from production, finance, controlling, sales and marketing, and from all the continents. So you can never say that any big decision is done only by somebody sitting in the headquarters in Iphofen, but a lot of the decisions, and that is also the partnership part of the value, are done on big international working groups and with contribution from many markets in the world.
So we can maybe also open the floor to this big question about the skills and competences of your employees, related to the values, related to the philosophy of the company. So for an employee to be successful, to be well handled in your organization, what do you think it is the most important skills and competences that they should have?
Although I'm not directly involved in the hiring process, unless there is something that is connected with marketing, and I'm supposed to be the superior to that person, so I can help. But I was applicant myself.
You can relate from that experience.
And from these 11 years of experience, what I can say, of course, education is some minimum, but also those, as you just mentioned, transferable skills, meaning communication skills, presentation skills, language skills, of course, because in our company, German and English are kind of official languages.
Yes, I wanted to
and
ask about
without knowledge, at least of one, preferably with both, one can make some work locally, but it's not so possible to make
cannot rise
advance.
Into the career path.
When I was a student myself, I didn't realize that it will be so important, but I think showing to your future employee that you are really full of energy, that you really like this job, and that you want to really contribute is also one asset that every company wants, because there are many smart students, many smart people, but it's always needed this extra zest that is coming from the people in order to finish some job. So even this kind of people who are really motivated, if there are some things that they don't know, they can cover, but it's very important to be communicative, open, motivated, and you must show this on the interviews when you...
So it's important to maybe focus on this, especially when students have opportunity during these 4 or 5 years of studying to be able to show also this enthusiasm while studying, because when they apply for the job, it will be in their CV like extracurricular maybe activities that they've done. Yes. And
you can also train that. You can also work on yourselves. I remember when I was a student, there was a group called Toastmasters that only dealt with presentation skills. It is something that I believe it's present in many countries. People go there in order to improve the presentation skills. And it's very important because imagine in such a big world of 30,000 people, if you have an idea, you need to present it.
Of course.
Very often you have 2-3 minutes, so you don't have a lot of time. You need to motivate and to really persuade everyone that this idea is the right one.
So not only communication, but also some other aspects of that. But because you mentioned you're not included in human resources as such, you mentioned marketing. Can you explain and tell us a little bit about your job position and your job obligations and what is the skills needed for your job position? Because we have students that are watching from different faculties, from different fields.
Again, in line with what we were speaking before, that there was always need to exist some kind of department, I would say interregional, regional, where we will be dealing mostly innovation, but not only the innovation coming from the production, but also innovative ways of marketing. So based on the market research several years ago, the results was showing that we need to work more on the presenting the innovations. So there was this department called Marketing Innovation, Eastern Europe, and I was head of this department. I'm head of this department, especially in the branch with marketing, because there are two lines in this organigram. One is market research, the other one is end marketing, where I try to make sure to be contact point of all the initiatives for marketing in Central and Eastern Europe, because Austria and Czech Republic is also belonging to our region. It's 19 countries. So
quite big.
Quite big. It's quite a lot of products in the portfolio, and basically I'm the so-called owner of all this portfolio of the products, meaning packaging, certificates, life cycle of products, following the process of sales, and suggesting if that product has to be relaunched, or if it's not serving anyone, then slowly phase out. So basically this is also one of my jobs. Every year we have some kind of innovation field of the year, where we spend some time to develop the new communication tools,
especially for this
especially
product,
for that
line.
Like last year you noticed we have this Art of Perfection claim for a new product line called Perfect Surfaces. It covers all the products for walls and ceilings, and we develop completely new micro website, video, app, and
so when you say we, I presume it's not only Macedonian team, but also this international Eastern Europe team.
This in my team, for example, the technical product leader, from the technical side, is sitting in Latvia, in Riga. Then the other one, the one who is more dealing with organization and working with instructors, sits in Czech Republic, in Prague. I'm also there, but also my task is, because I'm the only one, to take care of the implementation of all these tools in the 19 countries, meaning working with my local marketing colleagues, helping them and making sure that everything is running smoothly in the implementation. If they have some questions, I'm there to help. And also some of the tasks that are done, because it's a lot, I cannot do it myself alone. My duty is to delegate and follow
manage
to some
all
of the
this marketing team.
Local marketing.
Because
colleagues.
you mentioned different countries. When you develop the strategy for marketing, especially, so do you use one global marketing strategy, or you adapt it according to the market needs?
Yes.
So how do you also communicate?
Yes, it's an interesting question, because in Iphofen, the headquarters in Germany, they do develop some kind of umbrella guidelines for marketing, where we have the corporate identity, and we have guidelines for social media, guidelines for packaging. But it's interesting with Knauf, as I said before, a lot of the decisions are very region up to the regions to slightly change them, adapt them, in order for better acceptance in the local market. Because the experience in the past was showing that if some solution is only developed in Germany, then it's not so easy to adapt it in Japan or Brazil or in America, because the levels of the market, of the development and needs is different. And that's why there is always some small adjustments. So basically the suggestions, the tools coming from Germany, some of them we take them whole, because we don't need to adapt them, but some of them we make changes, and for some of them we create them from beginning, from zero, especially in our region.
And several times we are addressing to innovation, new product, new lines, so it means that you are very innovative as a company. And we have one question coming from our viewers. Is there a way or opportunity, and how it is structured, for employees to give ideas? I think you started explaining a little bit. So when there is an idea for new service, for new product, for new processes, how does it go? Can any employee
of course
say that? And is this process somehow managed and structured?
Yes, this process is very structured, and as I said Knauf before, part of the value entrepreneurship is to try to be pragmatic and to think about the experience of even the end worker in the mine or in the factory sitting somewhere in the end farther corners in Africa or Russia or somewhere, because as we know that when people spend a long time and they're dedicated to their work, they have such a knowledge that even some people who are very, very educated in Germany sitting or in America or somewhere, they cannot have this idea that person that spent all his life working on. That's why there is a platform, internal one with people who are taking care of all these ideas, called StageGate. This is internal, not accessible to outside, I would say.
So any
customers.
employee can access.
But every employee, there is also a tool as a part of Compass, this internal Facebook that we have in Knauf, where they can. There is like a form they fill in, where they explain where it comes from, what is the idea, where it could be applicated. Draw something, put some words, and then there are the people who are responsible to revise all of them, and those ideas.
These people are where in?
These people, there are
a special board for that, or?
Basically, for example, in Debar there is innovation center, because for Knauf Standard, it's kind of big company. We're not only gypsum boards, but it's also plasters, profiles, and many products are produced. So the size affords is making this department affordable. We have a person who is leading this innovation and idea process. For example, at the end of the year, on the New Year's party, we choose the 3 best ideas and we award them with some symbolic
okay, so these are the incentives for employees as well.
Yes.
You have the name, but also some money.
And they are those who are they have a target actually, because we not only encourage them, we advertise that Knauf is company. The success of Knauf comes from the innovation, from being able to say what you mean and to give your input. Even from every corner of the world. Now with the digital technology, it's very easy, much easier than before, and I believe this is a big strength in our company.
Yes, it is. And what happens afterwards? So you say, okay, these are the 3 best ideas, and what is the percentage afterwards? Do you have some information? How many of these ideas are developed afterwards?
I have at the moment I don't have this information, but after first acceptance of idea, depends if it's the idea only for regional market or local market. If it's only for local market, then the management, the general managers decide. They make a business case. They see what is the return of investment of this idea. So if it's local, it's much easier and quicker to implement. For regional and global ones, of course, it has bigger impact, and then there are colleagues in Germany who are working on it. But even though it maybe lasts a bit longer, the way, if there is a meat in this idea, I'm sure it finds the way. I'm not sure how many percentage reach, but I believe it's significant.
Yes, but you also mentioned, because if the decision can be made here locally, Macedonian general manager can decide, so you have quite a number from here.
We had some ideas for safety. It's immediately implementable, because safety is number one for construction workers, and if there is some small thing that we can change, and even normally that doesn't cost a lot, it's very easy to just present it to the management, they approve, and from the next day it can be implemented in life.
Okay. So for students or for employees now working in your company, it can be interesting also to hear what other motivational techniques you use. So this, I can say, it's one of the motivational technique that you use. You give open floor to the employees to engage in their work, to be committed, but also to continuously develop.
Yes.
So can you also share some other motivational techniques that you use?
Yes, in our region of Central and Eastern Europe, there is a talent management department. It's the seat is in Bratislava in Slovakia. As you can see, everything is distributed in many places. and it's good because it really has input from different countries, European Union, not European Union, because our company is much bigger than the European Union, for example. Even in our region, there are many countries which are not part of the European Union. So in Bratislava, there are people who are dealing the talent management, and of course HR issues, human resources issues, meaning they're responsible for always improving the hiring process. And the first induction, when the new employee is in the company, there is some small literature and some small, I would say, one-day training where they are learning about safety, about the company, and basic values of the company. So they prepare always some kind of tools over there, and lately they are opening social media to increase the awareness of Knauf as a company. It's called Knauf is Family. And I think it will be available in all the countries at the moment, I think in Eastern Europe and Central Europe. And basically people who are interested to work in the future for Knauf can have more humane approach and aspect of the company, not only of the products and the processes and the venue, but they will see the people and they will see what they do, what they like, what is their routine, and so on.
That is interesting.
And also talent management department is responsible for trainings.
I wanted to ask you about that because I can sense that it's knowledge and creativity and these competences to develop and to learn all the time is quite important.
It's
for
important.
Your employees.
It's a developing world, and technologies go really with giant steps, much quicker than in the past. So everybody must follow, and everyone from the students will always have to study, even when they graduate. It will never stop.
So there are specific courses that you offer for your employees. They can also say we need this, or
basically
some
this
analysis.
is more systematically solved. Every year at the end of the year, all the employees have evaluation talks with their manager. These evaluation talks are very important, and that's why they take some time, meaning you have some appointments with your general manager where you really cover all your goals, and if you meet the goals and why you didn't meet the goals. Was it because of some of the lack of skills by the employee? And based on this evaluation at the end, that is signed by both sides, and talent management department is processing, and they can see which of the skills is most wanted, and then they develop courses.
Maybe courses.
They are looking for outsourcing, of course, companies who are doing training for companies like us. And at the same time, for some things, if it's really a big interest, we do the train the trainer programs.
So then your employees,
some of the employees get really deep into it, and afterwards they go with this training throughout the network. And
so you have a training center at the company, so to say.
Yes. Internal.
Yes. Yeah. Okay, this is very important because you really take care of your employees and their development. You mentioned at the end of the year whether they met their goals or not. So this also means that each year each employee has this description of what are the goals, my goals for next year.
Every one of us receives some kind of key deliverables and objectives for the year. So I have one example here, and these goals must be not general, but they have to be really specific. We call them SMART goals.
For the job also. For
the job offer, meaning that with this, at your work, you need to make, for example, in marketing, this and this many new tools.
Can we maybe share something that is not so...
This is quite a lot of text. I don't know, it looks like this. But basically, I will tell you.
Just maybe one.
Yeah, for example, for me it says create, fill and finish market launch team and make a launch by end of March 2017 and produce the RASIC and detailed launch plan. This is something connected with project management. And this is one of the skills which is very important, and I encourage our students to learn about it. big companies, big projects require a lot of project management skills, which you need to follow all the developments, milestones.
So may I interfere?
Yeah.
So this doesn't have to mean that they are on a managerial position, but project management and managing themselves, their work also.
Yes.
So starting from there, and then maybe when they have the opportunity to use them to delegate and to have a team that they will manage.
Yes.
Okay.
Some of the deliverables are even connected with, for example, a little bit connected with sales, because marketing and sales are very, very connected. So, for example, you have a project that it requires exactly 25% cost saving on the total budget. So it's really concrete. So because sometimes having a target like this, it's really helping you create marketing actions and all the steps before and afterwards follow and to know if you're successful or not. If they tell you just create it, you can create it, but you never know if it's a...
But you also mentioned here key deliverable objectives, yes, and these are like indicators practically.
Indicators,
so you have
25%,
so reach this goal.
Yes,
25%.
exactly.
Very interesting.
Yes.
Okay. We already opened the floor for questions, and I have some people who I can see they're interested in your company because they're asking, is there an internship program actually? So are you open to students? So can they come as interns? And maybe also continue the answer, how many of these interns, is there a possibility to stay afterwards and be your employees?
I encourage everyone to follow Knauf locally in your countries and also here in Macedonia. We strongly communicate and cooperate with exchange organizations like IASTE, ISEC, BEST, and also with universities.
So you have interns from Macedonia, but also
we have
from
interns
abroad?
even mostly more from abroad than from Macedonia.
So this is interesting for people
every year.
watching
Yes,
from
we
abroad
have
as well.
training. This year we had one from Slovakia. Last year we had one from Germany. So it's really international. We had one from Hong Kong 2 years ago. So it's really international spirit, and we encourage the young people to join because university and the classical education is very important. But all these things that's why I support this project V-Tours, is because many of these things are not written anywhere, and you can either learn it if you have a training or
learning by doing or learning on the job.
Well, for example, my colleague who is doing marketing in Belgrade, she's 5 years in the company. She started as a trainee. We liked her. The team liked her. She said, "You are good. We want to offer you a job."
Them, yes,
and now she is employed in the company.
To say, And related to these new people who are employed, what type of contracts do you offer for them? Is it only for maybe a testing period, 3 months, 6 months? How does it work? Do you have this information?
I'm not so sure about
people
this.
Are also interested about that. But you. Maybe it is related also to the values and this performance that is measured. So this is annually performance is measured.
I believe if somebody is employed for a certain project, I guess normally projects don't last for a couple of days, or even they last sometimes months, even a year. So if he is involved or she is involved in a project, I believe the end of the project itself, it will be the evaluation, and then maybe the contract is
can be
prolonged, or it will be done forever. Or I'm not really. This is not my area, but yes.
But you communicate these open positions and
internship
position.
Last positions again with this digital era. We communicate on Facebook, on website, on platforms where you can. On LinkedIn, on many digital media, social media. So today it's much easier to I would say to scan and find employees, because very often with what we do every day, we leave traces, and employers can easily, not always, but easily for some people who have open profiles, see what is their interest, what kind of people they are. So in a way, please think about this as well when you post everything that maybe your future employee is following. And I hope it will be in your interest. Yes.
And is previous experience something that is highly valued? Can they come without no experience, like you mentioned for students, but also after they graduate? Is it also something that you
of course,
are interested
it's impossible to hire just experienced people because there are many students coming from the university. That's why I encourage them during their studies, even though it's not big period, depending, let's say 4 to 6 years. Try to be more proactive. Try to have some kind of training, internships, short works that will make you more confident and more more interesting for the hunters, for the employers. Of course, for some position, if it's more, I would say, modest and within the education they have, it shouldn't be a problem for the beginning. But afterwards, I'm sure that many of the students want to improve and to go higher in the ranking, and this is the only way. The experience is almost as important as the education itself.
Because we mentioned this type of competences, are best way to learn them is by doing at the job. Yes. So as many these internships they can have, or other activities which are outside of the studies, are more welcomed.
During my studies, I have participated in many international programs. I worked in factory, I worked in university abroad. I became a member of this EIS test, so I had possibilities almost every summer to go somewhere and learn, and I think this is very important for the person itself to know how to communicate, to learn the ways of the world, because even the etiquette of what is normal, what is not in one company, in one country, it can be completely different in Asia or Africa or somewhere else.
So this helped you quite a lot when you started.
I think so, yeah. Yes. My first training was in Thailand, in Bangkok, long time ago. I will not say the year. You go through a civilization shock, and all these processes and the culture and the relation between the people is shock. But this is enriching you, and afterwards you can make a comparison to other cultures, and you will see that, for example, every continent has its own ways. And now when I'm working with my colleagues, it's very easy. That's why when we have a trainee from Hong Kong 2 years ago, for me it was very natural. I know how they work, how they think, how polite they are, how not directly they're talking to the colleagues. So it's a special.
We can add to the list of transferable skills this cultural intelligence. I would like to emphasize
it's a good wording, yes.
So as much of this type of experience with different cultures it is a plus for the students to have.
I hope some students will have time to see the videos. The video of Knauf where we explain the values.
Yes, we can share. I think that
I really like this video because it's filmed on 5 different, I would say, continent spots, and you can see even the values, and many things are different, but at the core, again, we are all people. And after you learn about these cultural differences, you will see that we are all the same. But first you need to know this first wall, communication wall, to be surpassed.
They will watch, I'm for sure. And we have another question. It is quite interesting, especially when somebody is maybe a longer period now in the company. You have people like that. How are the possibilities of becoming a manager, or are you recruiting staff for management positions internally, or do you headhunt from other companies?
We do both. We do both. My beginnings were only connected with marketing activities in Macedonia. And then I was offered position to cover the markets of Albania, Kosovo, and Macedonia.
So it's a career path.
Yes, and then 3 years ago, even from, I would say, small Macedonia in the world, it's one would say it's not possible, but it is, because as we said, we have all these international working groups, and if you are a good person, if you know your job, if you are dedicated, motivated, and you want to do this extra mile, that's also part of the commitment of Knauf, you can I would say easily advanced, because there are many. I have a colleague who is now director of Knauf factory in Croatia. He's from Debar.
Okay.
Not to mention that Mr. Delovski, Todor Delovski, is from Skopje, Macedonia, but at the moment he's a general manager of 10 countries of Southeast Europe. So there are many possibilities. I think it's a very good company to grow.
Yes, and the performance and how well you perform during the years is somebody is ticking and watching, and then opportunities
it's recorded
arise
and kept, and it's very fair and transparent way of doing things.
So it's a good company to be in.
I hope so.
It's taking care
I
of
recommend
their,
it. Yes,
employees. And nowadays, one of also important topic very much discussed is corporate social responsibility. So you told us a lot about how you care about your employees, and maybe you want to tell us a little bit more about that, and maybe you have other CSR actions or Knauf has that you would like to also share with our students today.
Yes, sustainability and corporate social responsibility are important for us as well. In the past, a lot of things have been done and not, I would say, enough communicated. I'm saying now about Macedonia because I was doing these activities. In a way, I understand, because always the communication with these sensitive things is very delicate. We sometimes even use agencies who help us communicate the values of this corporate social, because many companies don't do it right. They do it right until the moment they start communicating it like it's a project that is I would say
to benefit from
advertising project, which is not. This is much more sensitive
in a marketing
thing.
Stage.
Yes.
Yeah.
For example, we had a year of partnership. It was one of our values. We had a project in Macedonia which was involving many stakeholders, starting from we started with using our unused damaged bags in production. So we gave them to people, to students and children who are growing without parents. They have some association where they gather, and they were taught what they should do with these bags and create designer pieces. Then we involved artists.
Upcycling of the
material, we involved artists. The artists also were drawing this. Then we involved also one newspaper, which is doing with people who are selling the newspapers in the street, when they were offering them as a package together with the newspaper. So basically, with this carefully tailored process, you involve many groups, you communicate it, but it's more organic. Not we donated this, look at this, and make a picture.
Of course.
So this is something
engagement
should
with
be more
the community.
Subtle. Yes. Work is very important. We can do much more about this. There are some, again, I say working group working on it to create more practical guidelines which will be used in the countries to make this segment of their work better and more tailored for Knauf nature. Yes.
Interesting. And what about the environment? Because you take your research from the environment, and are there any standards that you also comply with? And
yes, of course. All the industries, it's very important their impact on the environment. Many countries individually for their markets, they are ISO 14000 certified, meaning they care about the environment. For us, luckily, it's not so difficult because the gypsum is very pure. In Debar, when you go at the factory, there is some white smoke, but believe me, this is mostly vapor, because as you can see, to melt this kind of transparent thing like this crystal and to put it between special pieces of paper together doesn't require too much damage to the environment, and that is good. This is good for Debar, this is good for Macedonia and all the other factories for the nature in the world, because especially in Macedonia we're really concerned and we pay special attention about this. Yes.
Good. We have also one interesting question because you mentioned you're a global enterprise, so students are asking, are there possibilities for mobility of employees from one place to another?
Yes, it's possible. One of them is to go to advance and get job offer somewhere else, like the example I said with my colleague in Croatia. And the other example is there are yearly programs for exchange of employees between the organizations. For example,
so how does it work? Okay.
For example, every year at the end of the year on Compass there is announcement which countries are open to receive for how long, and they are looking for applications, and then different people can apply, and then if you are accepted you go and work. For example, I know one of my colleagues from Germany, she spent 2 or 3 months in Chile working in local organization. And again, I would say the main accent of this is not that they don't know how to do some job or they don't know and they will learn. It's more, of course, there is a best practice component in it, but it's more learning these cultural values and spreading this Menschlichkeit and learning about each other more, because the more we understand each other, the more we can cooperate, and the company is having
and this
benefits.
Family and closeness that you
this is
have
also
as,
one more
as
underlying
values.
thing. Yes.
Any other best practices from coming from employees that are maybe around the world, not only from Macedonia, something that is interesting to share, or where students can find information about? If you have?
I would say many of the countries are active on social media. Now we have this Knauf family. It's a new I would say communication tool. It's still at the beginning of the development. I think it was launched from Slovakia last month. And now it's we are doing the content, translating, and it has to be, of course, regional. Every region is special, different people work there, different stories needs to be used. But we are open on many social media channels. We have the website. I would say, for example, in Macedonia, Knauf website has so many pages. It's one of the biggest websites of all the construction industry. We put a lot of energy and time creating all this news. We started very early, I would say 7-8 years ago, being on Facebook and organically grow on where we are at the moment. And it's also our communication platform. A lot of our customers comment and write us a question
in real time. So
in real time,
now
we are
communication
relatively
with
fast
clients,
answering the questions. Yes, we are on Instagram. We are on LinkedIn in some countries. It's. I think we are pretty open on many channels, and you can very easily find and learn about Knauf.
Because you mentioned different types of social media channels. What would you recommend for students? What is the best also to have their profile at, and maybe more professional and suitable one, because they are now maybe in the position of working or trying to find a job. So where to communicate themselves and offer their knowledge and skills? I
know that for those who are interested to look for a new job, LinkedIn is absolutely a must, I would say. The students should really look at it at the beginning and learn about the companies. Then they find the profiles they like the most and try to tailor it language-wise, because all the copywriting should be nicely made in special way that LinkedIn or CVs are done, because this is in a way somehow your ID in front of the world. So all the future employees, I'm sure that they will check you up on LinkedIn if you are there or not.
Okay, this is important.
It's I think one of the good tools. But even if you are on Twitter, on Facebook, or anywhere, everything you post there, this is a content. If you created it, it talks about you, tones. So whatever you put there, it's what you are. It's part of you. So if you want to have it private, keep it private. But if you want to be open, beware that maybe your future employee is checking it and considering what you put there.
Not only the CV, what is written here, and this is what they've done, but also Okay, what is out there?
Because I believe that everybody wants to have a colleague who is nice. So if you're a nice person, it shows. Maybe not so much on LinkedIn, but maybe on Facebook or Twitter. So everybody likes nice people, because if you have to work with somebody for all of your, I would say, working life or many years, you spend a lot of time with that person, and if it's a nice person, it's nice to work with as well. It's a good team player.
Yes, this is important.
Yeah.
Yes. We have another question. Maybe we did not said something about, what about PhD? So is there a place for people who are PhD candidates or already finished their PhD, because you are oriented towards innovation? So can they find their place? Or expect maybe a higher position leading some R&D team?
Of course, PhD, meaning that they are much advanced in their knowledge of certain topics. So our company is very open for this kind of people. In all your countries, please follow some of the channels, website or social media, and if you see something, you can even write, be proactive and offer yourself a help, get a traineeship where you can show how good you are, or follow some products or some product line that you are very interested, and again ask if you can be involved in some way. Of course, some things in the early stage of the development maybe are not open, but some of them maybe. It's really depending on every country. So please be proactive, especially PhD. You can be very smart, but we don't know you. So show us your face, and
so
we should know that you're
two-ways
interested.
Interaction. So not only what they can offer, but what you can offer, but also what they can offer.
Of course,
yes,
it's a partnership. It's a partnership, yes.
Yeah. Okay. And what about payment? Are your employees satisfied with the payments related to other companies in Macedonia?
For Macedonia, I can say it is. The answer is yes. I would say yes, because it's not a secret. It's a public information. We work profitably. We have the targets. If the targets are met, we get awards for that.
Like bonuses at the end of the year? Or
yes. It's really connected with what you do.
Okay.
But at the same time, if you don't, you don't. So if you don't meet the target, it happens. The economy, all the companies work for profit, that's the truth, but it's important to have a reasonable target, so people, because Menschlichkeit, as we said, this human aspect of everything is important. So if you put some target that is achievable, and if everybody who is dedicated to the work can achieve, I think he can be satisfied with what he gets in this company.
This is important.
Yeah.
And this structure and position and work profiles, is there a way also to introduce new positions, and how decisions are made when there will be a new job opening? So who makes these decisions?
The decisions come from the process, I would say, from the different processes, depending on the focus of that year. If we need to grow in certain segment, for example, if we need to grow in segment of I would say, I don't know, plastering, and we need to have more time with customers explaining the benefits. So of course we will be trying to find more people who know more about plastering, applicators, or if we want to put stress on digitalization, it's important, something for many companies in the world. Of course, then all the people who are involved into digitalization and different digital IT stuff, so they will be interesting for us. So it's very likely that we will grow in this segment.
So it's according to the strategy of the company and the needs at the moment.
And the local needs of the organization.
And is it easy to find employees, and or there are some problems nowadays?
My personal feeling is, even though it's more and more open, we can see information about each other a lot, I would say it's not so easy. I'm really curious what other companies will say. Even in Macedonia, where there is much bigger unemployment, but I believe also in other countries, it's very important to spend some time and choose the right person, because you need to train him or train her, and if you find too late that it's not the right one, doesn't fit in the team, or it doesn't meet the requirements, it's very expensive and painstaking job to start all over again.
Of course.
That's why the process is very important, and
Mhm.
I would say it's not so easy. Yes.
So this process of hiring, and it takes some time, as you mentioned. Any information about that? Maybe you can share. How does it look? So they apply, and what happens afterwards?
Yeah.
They maybe have several interviews with different people.
I believe that this process sometimes can last several months, depending on the job and the
So
urgency.
this is important information for students. If
Yes.
they're
So
So
sometimes,
it's-
if you for something needed very fast, people and the colleagues who are responsible for this will tell you, and the process will last shortly,
okay.
and they will know who is hired, who is not, very quickly. But if it's for some strategical position where really the choice is very important, it can take maybe several months and several interviews until you get to the right candidate.
Yes, and also maybe some tests on the job you also provide.
I think
you test the knowledge, or
I think depending on the style of the HR colleague and the person, they can expect also that some basic tests can be given, and it's not so difficult, but it's just knowledge of basic, I would say, terms and the market itself. So it's not so unusual to have a test as well.
Okay. Yes, it's quite interesting. I think we covered mostly all of the questions here, and from the students, of course, we will be in touch, and students will communicate and see what you mentioned, the website, the videos, also from the company, and follow you on social media as well, and see if you have any openings at the moment or possibilities for interns, and any recommendations or guidelines at the end you would like to summarize?
I want to encourage everyone to work on themselves, to study and have these other skills as well. And if you are a person that is positive and educated and motivated, all the companies will want you.
Okay, thank you, Robert, very much.
Thank
It was
you
a
for your
pleasure
time.
meeting you and get to know your company. So I hope the students also enjoyed and are motivated and now enthusiastic to improve their CV and their capacities to be in more employable skills.
Thank you, Angelina. Thank you.
you.